The first strategy is called wealth curve. Think of a curve graph representing your earning potential. Many factors determine the length and steepness of your individual wealth curve. Some factors, like the industry you are in, are decisions you've already made. Yet many factors are within your control, and all strategies are focused on changes you can make that will positively impact your wealth curve. But we have to start by understanding the potential of your wealth curve, determine where you currently are on your wealth curve, and set very specific targets for your next steps as you climb the corporate ladder. One of the best ways to understand the total potential of your wealth curve is to look at your CEO's compensation. So, we're starting there. We'll then unpack compensation structures, as there's a lot more to it than most people know. We'll then bring it closer to home, helping you map your specific point and surrounding points on your wealth curve. And then, importantly, get into setting targets. CEO compensation is illuminating. Whilst it follows similar structures for most CEOs, the value CEOs earn within the structures can vary greatly. Firstly, it's the quickest way to understand the top end of the wealth curve you are on. That's why we're starting with it. Knowing how much is being paid to probably your company's highest earning employee sets the top of the bar. This is effectively the potential maximum of your current wealth curve. Secondly, since many CEOs' compensation has become public, we gain good insights into the various benefits and methods of compensation available within an organization. Thirdly, the differences between your CEO's compensation and that of a competitor might initially seem very different, but as you will see from the next part of this strategy, they are often in the same realm, at least as it relates to base salaries. So let's look at CEOs of companies we all know. Microsoft and Google. According to the publicly available financial statements of these companies, Satya earned $55 million and Sundar earned $226 million in 2022. That seems very different, doesn't it? Let's dive a little deeper into these numbers. If we look at Satya's earnings using Salary.com data, we can see that he earned $2.5 million in what's called base pay. Base pay, for most of us, makes up the majority of our compensation. Yet for him and most other CEOs, it's often the smallest percentage of their compensation. He then earned $10 million in bonuses and other incentives that isn't giving him more equity or ownership of Microsoft stock. And finally, the biggest part of his compensation was his stock award at just over $42 million. We'll talk in more detail about stock awards in the next lesson of this strategy. Sundar is in a similar compensation structure. His base pay was $2 million. Not too far off Satya's when we're dealing with such large numbers. And in Sundar's case, the stock award was an incentive for the growth achieved over a number of years. If you look at his earnings for 2021, you will notice he didn't get any stock awards. So his total compensation was much lower. Jumping out of the tech sector for a moment, let's look at Walmart's president and CEO. Doug earned $24.6 million in 2022, with $19 million being stock awards. His base pay made up 5% of his total compensation. And Brian, who runs Bank of America, earned almost $30 million. His base pay was similar to Doug's, and as a percentage, again, around 5% of his overall compensation. And like Sundar, Satya, and Doug, the majority of his earnings are in the form of stock awards. What we learn from CEO compensation, beyond the fact that it sets the top end of your current wealth curve, is whilst the total pay can vary greatly, base pay isn't that different. In 3 of the 4 examples we looked at, their base pay was around 5% of their overall compensation. In the next lesson, we'll deep dive into the various elements of their compensation to ensure you know what's available. Structurally, they really get paid a lot in equity, meaning shares in the company. How you work towards earning equity will be a key driver to getting paid what you are worth and maximizing your earning potential. Then, CEO's personal performance is directly tied to the company's performance. The value of the equity they earn is ultimately determined by the value of the company. As you move up your corporate ladder, the more you can connect your personal performance to that of the company, the bigger the benefits and rewards will become. And then, unless you are the CEO or very close to becoming the CEO, there's most likely a lot of room for improvement in your compensation. In the next lessons, we'll unpack just how much and how you should target your compensation growth.